Didn't set me up here. Okay, because it was not there. Are we live? Okay. Hello, everyone. This is unplanned, last minute. I don't expect anyone showing up here really, because it is last minute. I'm trying to set up here my notes. Yep. I just wanted to make sure that this is out there and available. So when our Albanian friends wake up, they get to see it. I have already sent emails to my journalist friends in Albania. And what time is it in Albania? It's about 1 or 2 a.m. Okay, we have 43 people. Anybody from Albania? I hope we have people from Albania, my friends there. Okay, people, earlier I had a breaking news. And I talked about some of the illegal weapons shipments from Turkiye to various countries in Europe, other parts of Europe, being intercepted, some of them, only some of them, a few of them in Bulgaria. And we are talking about very large numbers of combat war weapons, semi-automatics, pistols, etc. And that the amount of these illegal arms shipments, because it usually goes to the south, because Turkey has been the hub. Turkey is a narco state. It's the hub for the illegal weapons transferring. Because of its geopolitical, geographic position, Turkey is and has been the hub. And this is exactly why Turkey has been the headquarters, the center for Operation Gladio B since 1991, the fall of the Soviet Union, when they transitioned from the original Operation Gladio to Operation Gladio B, the formation of Al-Qaeda, later brand change into ISIS, and the ISIS was incepted. It was those ISIS candidates were all transported into Turkey from Libya, from Afghanistan, from Syria. They were trained in Turkey, they were armed, and then transported back to Iraq and Syria and Libya and elsewhere. So Turkey has been the hub since 1991. Now, that was why I was emphasizing the previous breaking news. I don't know, only 5 hours ago, 4.5, 5 hours ago in English. You can see it there. It's the latest video in English talking about the importance of these weapons that were being shipped from Turkey with Turkish operatives via trucks, via land, through Bulgaria into other countries. And then I talked about the other related operations, all within the Operation Gladio B. And I exposed the meeting between Trump and Erdogan on September 25th, 2025 in the White House, where Trump ordered, per Israel's request as well, ordered Erdogan, Turkey's President Erdogan, to intensify Operation Gladio B because the hub being Turkey, okay? Now, since I published the breaking news, and that was the breaking news, it no longer is with this one, about 4 or 5 hours ago, I was contacted by very trustworthy people in Bulgaria. To be specific, 2 people in Bulgaria, one of them an American who has been in Bulgaria since he or she retired. Because I published this news that nobody is covering on these illegal weapons that were intercepted, and this is not the first one. they have amped up all these bomb-making materials and weapons and guns from Turkey, okay, to other places in Europe. So I was told, and this is the part that is brand new, people, I was told that the previous and this particular shipment, some of it, even though it said the end user, the end destination was marked as Germany, there was to be a transfer before Germany into Albania. People, Albania. You know what's happening in Albania? We have the Flamingo Revolution. We have had the protests. They are entering the 80th day. And most importantly, before anybody was talking about Albania, before anybody was talking about Sazan Island, before anybody was talking about Jared Kushner, Epstein, and Albania, in November and December 2025, I was the first person in English exposing in a series, multi-part series on my Patreon site. Some of the videos made it into YouTube, but that's my home. All these facts related to Jared Kushner, Epstein, Sazan Island, Edi Rama, Albanian mafia, and yes, even though still people are not talking about it, Venezuela and the cocaine route from South America, which 90% of it, close to 90% of the cocaine, global cocaine sourced from South America was 90% of it, up to 90% of it was controlled by the Albanian mafia, has been for the past 20 plus years. They control the ports in Brazil. They control all the hubs. They did control everything other than one country, and that was Venezuela. The only country that had an agreement with Venezuela and was able to do the cocaine trade and then transfer into Europe and the Middle East, other than Albania, the remaining 10% was Turkey. And this was via Turkish government. The current president and his tribe and his cabinet members, they are all implicated. For 20 years, they have been, especially since 2016, they had a deal with Venezuela's Maduro. Now, after Maduro's what happened and Maduro being taken by Trump administration, the United States, Turkey lost its share, that 5-10% share of cocaine, okay, the global cocaine trade. And everything went 100% to the Albanian mafia, Israel, and Jared Kushner. People, I have been reporting on this in November, in December 2025, in January, 5 months before anybody talked about Albania and Sazan Island. And that's why I was hoping to have at least some Albanians, even those I'm looking at the chat section overseas, tune in, because they stood up to Edi Rama. I exposed all the Epstein and the Turkiye hub and everything with Albania. And they published everything I published. They published every podcast. They published every news article. That would be Albania's Pamphletti and Tirana Times and all sorts of wonderful people in Albania, journalists, independent journalists, and bloggers. So this breaking news is an alert to them, because what I have received in the past 2 hours, okay, it talks about most of these latest weapons, illegal weapons being shipped, being transported from Turkey, Operation Gladio, is actually going to Albania, okay? So my first initial thought, reaction, rightfully was, okay, so it's the Albanian mafias. So Turkey has been a hub for every shit that you can ever imagine. Narcotics, organ trafficking, child sex trafficking, illegal weapons trafficking, ISIS, terrorism. Turkey has been the hub, okay? And this is not something that I'm alleging. This is something that has been established as a fact for years and years. So initially I thought, okay, some of these are ending up in Albania in the hands of, maybe they want. But then I'm thinking, I mean, Albania already has its own deal with NATO. and the United States, why would they be getting the weapons from these illegal weapons from Turkey? And this is what I was told, that now with these protests in Albania going for its day 75, 76, it has started becoming bothersome, okay? People bothersome for NATO, especially for Trump, especially for Jared Kushner and Israel. Because as I reported in November and December 2025, you can go Google it and find it in all the pamphletti. Many thanks to Pamphletti for publishing all my articles and investigative reports. With these plan to acquire, which they have, Sazan Islands, 1/3 of Sazan Island was going to be, and I refer to it as Satan Island for per Epstein's, and I have it all covered in terms of child sex trafficking, all that. But that 1/3 of Sazan Islands with the already built bunkers since World War II was to become, and it still is in the plans, a base, a formal official base for Israel, military with their intelligence radar. 1/3 of, think about it, 1/3 of Sazan Island with this Jared Kushner project was to be and is to be an Israeli base in that Adriatic Sea, okay? And across from it, they helped finance building this airport, new airport in Albania, to make the entire thing complete, because the shipments of cocaine from South America, okay, with the ports in Brazil under the control of Albanian mafia, Jared Kushner, and Israelis, okay, and with Israeli base there, you can just look at the map and see how Israel has been moving upwards with the trilateral agreement that it made with Cyprus and Greece, both Greece being under enormous economic and financial pressure, taking advantage of it because they're buying. They're buying islands, they're buying lands in Greece. That's a different topic for a different time. And of course, Albania. Talk about the greater Israel project. People were thinking, oh, it was going to end with Turkey and a greater Kurdistan. No, they have been Israel moving up the Mediterranean, okay, the neck from Mediterranean neck through Cyprus into Greece and Albania, and large presence also in Montenegro. So NATO, the United States, Jared Kushner, Israel they are saying this is getting to be too much. The protests continuing now and this whole screaming and the world's attention on now Albania. They were not when we were paying attention in November, December 2025, but now the entire world is watching. This is turning into a fiasco. So with these gun shipments, they are also using Turkey by having Turkey send some of their Albanian Turkish operatives who are also part of this whole cocaine Albanian Turkish mafia thing into Albania, because this is recent, this is new. They are planning a synthetic terror operations. They need to make these Albanian protesters look bad, lose credibility. People, this is the Operation Gladio since its inception modus operandi. During its initial stage, right after the World War II, okay, until the fall of the Soviet Union, it was doing things and blaming on the communists and the communist sympathizer, okay? Oh, Bologna train station bombing. Remember that terror, right? Blame it on the communists, like the Red Scare, right? So people would say, oh, this is what the big bad evil Soviet Union and communists do, people in Europe. Well, with the fall of the Soviet Union, they created the new enemy. Welcome Al Qaeda, okay? 9/11, ISIS, right? They had to replace the communism, the Soviet Union with the new enemy. I mean, it's a matter of life and death when it comes to the weapons producing mega companies, be it Lockheed Martin, be it every single one of them, okay? Now, these protests in Albania, initially they kind of shrugged it off. Then they said, okay, people are going to get tired in Albania and they were going to stop and they're going to give up. Well, that has not materialized. It did not take place. And now, with the world's attention on Albania, people, the reason I'm doing this late at night, last minute, per two reliable sources in Bulgaria, they are funneling operatives, terrorists, guns into Albania. What does this tell me? What does this tell me? This tells me that they are going to, it's very, very likely, per my sources, that they are going to synthetically create that event where some certain Albanian protesters are going to look responsible for loss of life, for terrorism, for using guns. People, think about it. When you have such crowds, such as the Albanian protests, when you have 500,000 people on the streets, the entire population of Albania is 2.5 million, 2.6 million. 500,000 people been on the street. That's a lot of people. It's not a big country, okay? And when you have that congestion of 500,000 people on the streets, you won't be able to tell who fired what, who caused shooting what, and which would then snowball and escalate into loss of life that would be blamed on Albanian protesters. These are the amazing people who have been the example of resistance. Okay, before them, I have to give them credit. Serbians did it. Serbians kicked out Israel and Jared Kushner with their projects, despite their government being corrupt. Albanians have been doing it for 75 plus days, and NATO, Israel, USA, they have said enough is enough. Well, they're not going to directly do this. They are using their dirty partner, their proxy, narco state, criminal state, Turkey's government. Okay, this would be dictator Erdogan's government. Erdogan is the biggest supporter, one of the biggest supporters of Edi Rama, okay, and his Albanian mafia government, okay. Edi Rama and Erdogan, which Erdogan currently, he is really not making any decisions. He's not calling the shots. The Turkey's president Erdogan is now at the stage 2 Alzheimer's stage, okay? And this has been leaked by multiple sources, including US diplomatic sources in Turkey. Okay, we're talking about some of the US consulates. He's not here. Everything is being managed, ran by Hakan Fidan, Erdogan government's foreign minister, okay? And Hakan Fidan, until 2016, was the head of MIT. MIT is the CIA of Turkey, okay? The National Intelligence of Turkey is the national and international agency of Turkey, okay, for intelligence, okay? Think about the head of the CIA becoming a foreign minister. That's who Hakan Fidan is. Also, Turkey has been not on the verge of bankruptcy. Turkey has been bankrupted, okay? They are trying to hide it from the people. The treasury, everything is empty. Turkey has no money left. It's a country that is bankrupted, okay? In the last few weeks, Turkey has been selling anything and everything it can, okay? From its national interest, from its people's interest, from its soil, data center to Palantir, Peter Thiel's, okay? They sold the acres and acres of in the middle of city land to Peter Thiel's Palantir via an intermediary country, the United Arab Emirates. They are desperate. They are desperate. They are desperate and they're doing everything. Terrorism, narcotics, anything Trump and Israel is asking them to do. So naturally, it is Turkey that is sending the gun, sending the operative, because Edi Rama is Erdogan government's partner number one with like big one is being Turkey is at the point of desperation. Okay. And they would, at this point, they would say yes to any order as long as there is some money attached to it. The reason I'm preparing this breaking news, I'm almost brain dead, people. I've been working on my other news projects, ongoing reports since 8 o'clock this morning. I have already recorded 2 videos. I'm losing my voice. I don't want to lose time. I don't want Albania to lose time. I don't know what I can tell Albania specifically to do other than be extremely vigilant. And I am sure there are insiders in Albania who are maybe covertly pro people, pro protesters, okay? Okay, and I'm appealing to them. Okay, you know that these weapons from Turkey via Turkish operative and transportations are coming to Albania, and you know the reason. You know that they want to create a synthetic terrorism event and make the Albanian protesters look bad and justify Edi Rama really clamping down, because by being part of the EU and NATO and the European position, Edi Rama has his hands have been kind of tied in terms of using the force that dictator Erdogan is able to do in Turkey. So if they make this caused by the Albanian protesters, that would justify the Albanian mafia, okay, Edi Rama to come down hard on these protesters, jail them, and make it look like it was justified. Turkey is the middle country. Turkey is the Operation Gladio proxy. Please, if you haven't already, check out my other video, just came out 2-3 hours ago, and look at the news. Okay, American news, they're not covering it. There are a few very reliable investigative journalists in Europe, smaller publications that have been putting it out. The recent interception of these guns being transported, shipped by Turkey to several countries in Europe, and transit point is Bulgaria. People, my sources are solid in Bulgaria. They are telling me that in the past few weeks, okay, in the past few weeks, this was one of the few, this shipment that was intercepted. These guns are being, they're being part of these guns, shipments, illegal weapons are being taken into Albania. They have plans. This is the Operation Gladio plans. They want to create synthetically the incident or the incidents, violence via guns, weapons, maybe bombs, in order to blame it on the protesters so that they can justify Edi Rama killing, jailing some of these Albanian protesters and end this for who? Not for Albania, for Jared Kushner, for Israel, for the global cocaine trade, okay, for the Epstein's coalition. Um, I'm going to take a few seconds and take a look at the chat section here to see if there are any questions. Oh my goodness, I know it's late. This was a last minute uh, breaking news. So if you ask the question at the beginning, instead of me scrolling up, if there is a valid question, I'm going to take 5-6 minutes and answer any question you may be having here. Okay, comments. God bless Albanians. Letonia, okay. Um, thank you, Sema. Much respect to you. Okay. Epoch of democracy. Thank you. This is the first time I have had it up to here in the past few days, and I have been kind of really tense because of the situation. But on the other hand, we have so many people from Turkey who have been wonderful. All you have to do is take a look at the comment section, And you will see like 80% are just wonderful, amazing, amazing people from Turkey. But then we have that unfortunate, ignorant 10, 20%. Turkey is bankrupt. There are trolls. People don't pay attention. They're desperate greater trolls. Yeah, just ignore. Turkey produces a lot of trolls. That's why we have been doing a lot of these in English. So I'm going to Baba Zulal, çok teşekkür ederim. Who are these sources? Why are they reliable? Somebody doesn't know about investigative journalism. Anybody who knows me, please explain to this person how you do investigative report and report before things happen, not after the fact. Um, all right, I'm going to scroll downward to see if is Patrick still here, Sibel? Hello, Patrick. Welcome. Thank you, Zen of Volcan. Okay. Okay. I don't see any questions. Are there any questions? I know there is this 10, 15 seconds delay. I always do my lives on weekends. I have it on Saturday. I have been having it in Turkish, but I'm going to have a live in English for Saturdays. I'm going to announce it. I don't know what time. I'm going to consult with all our people and see what works best, generally speaking, in terms of involved time zones for various English speaking supporters and friends, and I will announce it here. Um, okay, so Ella, can you block this Abdul Hamid person, as the name says? These are like Talibani people who pose as Turkish. They are the Taliban people. They have issued arrest orders, and the way they kind of tackle anybody who reports, like, why don't they shut their women's mouths? So they're like Afghanistan's Taliban. Unfortunately, they have gotten citizenships in Turkey, but they are not really Turkish. They're from Afghanistan. Taliban's Afghanistan. There are some amazing good people in Afghanistan. These are Taliban people who have been given Turkish citizenship. The Erdogan government has been handing out citizenships to all these terrorists from Taliban, Afghanistan, to some factions from Libya. It's incredible. It's incredible. Okay. Any questions, people? Any questions about Operation Gladio, about these guns shipments? And so the destinations that they have been actively sending, this is Turkey, operatives and weapons. These are war grade weapons, are now confirmed. Albania, Germany, as you know, there are a lot of many, many Turks over there. Germany, Albania, Netherlands, Belgium, and France. These are the 5 countries they have been. This is Turkey's Operation Gladio operatives, weapons and terrorists. Yes, it is. It's the state terrorist clear. It has been. For Operation Gladio from Al Qaeda to ISIS. That's correct. Um, okay. Okay. Well, all right. This for breaking news is long enough, and I will follow up on this. And again, I want to end this by saying that, people, if you go to my Patreon site, that's where I operate. I'm not a big fan of YouTube and the social media. On Patreon, at the end of the year in December 2025, I believe it was December 31st, 2021, I said, I'm going to give Sibel Edmonds, our Patreon community's People's Award, to Serbia. This was, 8 months ago, because Serbia, with their resistance, they totally stood up to their government, part of the government corrupt, and they kicked out Jared Kushner and Jared Kushner's Arab and Israeli partners, all part of the Epstein's network. And that was an enormous, enormous, amazing victory. Then I started publishing all this stuff for Albania, one investigative report, all documented with whistleblowers, including whistleblowers in the FBI on Albanian and Epstein's network's Balkans victims, which constitute 80+% of Epstein's victims were from Turkiye, Eastern Europe, and mostly the Balkans. And they also included in their networks child organ traffickers. Anyhow, I don't want to get into that, but I was amazed how quickly, because I'm not active on social media, how amazing they were. People in Albania, they took everything and nonstop, despite Edi Rama, despite the government bullies, they kept publishing, they kept disseminating, they kept sharing it. Okay, so all those reports, December, January, February, it built up to this amazing resistance and the explosion of people standing up and really saying, no, we're not going to let this happen. And towards the end, before this happened, I was wondering, I'm like, when are you going to stand up? Come on, Albanian people, I'm giving you all the stuff. But I have to say, I am so proud of you, Albania. I'm so proud of you. I have been trying very hard for the past 2, 3 months to do the same thing with people in Turkey. We are far from being at that point, but I guess people and countries, you're becoming examples, okay? Serbia did its part, Albania is still doing, and we are hoping that we see this replicated around the world for us, the people, to stand up and say no to the Epstein's networks, Epstein's coalitions, Israel, Zionist genocide, the bullying, declining American US empire. And it has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. In my previous videos, I said we tend to, all of us, I'm included, most of the times, we see ourselves as powerless, and these people, this deep state, so powerful. But, you know, they say the last drop, that last drop that makes the ocean overflow, it's always that last drop. We are all, we can all, we are, and can be part of that last drop. And I believe there is a great proof for this there in Serbia, today in Albania, and I refuse to give in to this sense of powerlessness and the learned helplessness and say, well, there is nothing we can do. We are too little, we are too small, they are too big, therefore we won't get anywhere with these people. I refuse to do that. Despite all these years and many defeats, I refuse to do that. Okay, people, I thank you so very. Um, yes, Jadu Ordu, me too. I have been cheering nonstop for Albanian people. Um, Okay, so all right. I thank you all for joining me with this last minute heads up. Now, I want to ask you for you to do your part for Albania, for humanity, for all these information reports, breaking news pieces that are being all censored by the entertainment media, by the deep states influencers, the ones with sugar daddies such as Elon Musk, right? So I'm asking you to do your part. How can you do this part? Please share this video, like this video, post the link to this video on every social media channel you use and with your friends on various, and ask your friends to do that, because in so many ways, people who have been following me here, they know I have been shadow banned for years, especially lately. So please do your part. Once this goes to the recorded version, the live, you can hype the video. That makes it more visible, I'm told. I don't know, it really does it. But I'm told that makes it visible. Like it, share it. Instagram, put the link, put the thumbnail, say, people, breaking news, Albania, Operation Gladio alert, okay? And please do your share. All it takes, right now my mouth is so dry. I've been talking so much on various recording today. All it takes is like less than 2 minutes to put the link to disseminate this, okay? Don't let this die down, because then we can come and say, look, people, we said, we warned, this is coming. They are planning this for people in Albania. Let's get ahead of this. What's the point if we have this information and step in after the fact? 9/11 taught me that much. And because of that, I don't take a chance. I get information, I get reliable sources, and I say, maybe putting this out may prevent something like 9/11, which we are approaching its quarter century anniversary. So do your share, please. And I thank you very much. Please like, share, once it goes recorded, hype, put it all over social media. I will be following up on this report and see you soon. Thank you, everyone.